So with that, I'm going to introduce our first speaker. Birdie Duka uses she, her pronouns. She's a local writer, poet, and dive bar enthusiast. You can usually find her having an existential crisis in the middle of the Rumors dance floor or clacking her blue velour boots from home, forward, outward, and upward. Birdie Duka.
Hello. I would first like to thank the TDoR committee and the Grand Rapids Trans Foundation for allowing me the opportunity to speak. I made a promise to my friends that I would do my best not to bob it up, so I'd just like to take this time to offer a content and trigger warning. The subject material of my speech today includes racial violence, mentions of sexual violence, and discussions of transphobia. When Reverend Sojourner Truth climbed a dust-laden stage in 1851, she posited a question that has yet to remain answered. Ain't I a woman? When Reverend Sojourner Truth questioned that wide-eyed crowd in Akron, Ohio with Ain't I a woman, she was eminently asking why. Why was it that some women are interpreted as weak, gentle underlings, and others are disregarded completely? Why was it that, and she proves this disregard by lamenting that no one has helped her over a mud puddle or into a carriage, and most heartbreakingly, that no one has given her any best place. She demanded that the audience look at her arms to see the strength gained from pain-punctured plowing and planting. In her foreword thesis, she queried if women were so weak, then how was she able to endure all of that? In those 4 words, she begged the nation to answer for its rampant racism, sexism, and blatant disregard for her dignity and personhood. 4 words that still remain to be unanswered today. So I carry her words to you today, but in turn of posing a question, I'm going to make her foreword thesis a declarative. I am a woman. The days for asking are over. I am a woman. I stand here not asking or begging, but demanding that you see our humanity. Let me rephrase that. I demand that you not only see us, but I demand that you accept us, because let's just spill the tea. Y'all see us and y'all hate us. Like Reverend Sojourner Truth's scars, you see our strength and you hate us for it. I'm here to tell you, keep looking, because no matter what you do, we're here, and we've been here, and we're going to keep on being here. The dilapidated circus peanut currently holding the highest office in the land, aka y'all president, and his gang of ghoulish goblins, they're doing their cisgendered best to shut us up and shut us down, but we're not budging, and we're not backing down, and we're not backing out, and we're not going anywhere. It's literally impossible to erase us. At the end of the day, to beg for approval, it cheapens the heavy and all-fulfilling price tag that comes with accepting and recognizing one's humanity. I refuse to engage with or dignify debunked, derelict, and decrepit denials of trans people and our existence with even one more iota of an inch of a response. Not while the life expectancy of trans women of color is 31 to 35 years of age. Not while just this year, in America, 22 souls are being added to the long list of trans and gender nonconforming persons that have been taken from us. The year isn't even up yet, and we're already pushing close to 29 from last year. And mind y'all, this is only including America. The deaths that have been reported worldwide for 2018 that were reported, we're already at 369 trans and gender nonconforming persons murdered. I will no longer offer bigotry a seat at the table of legitimacy carried in on the backs of goodwill and meek ignorance. No, I say I cannot. I will not. The fight for getting one's humanity recognized is far from cheap, and the lengths that we go to achieve some semblance of that acceptance in the meantime are often astronomical and dangerous. The cost of medical procedures related to transitioning averages to about $20,000 over a 2-year period. And according to the 2015 Trans US survey, 29% of trans people live in poverty compared to the 14% of the general population. Trans people experience unemployment at 3 times the rate of the general population and 4 times more for trans people of color. So it's no wonder that we hear stories of trans and gender nonconforming persons, specifically trans women of color, being forced to engage in dangerous and life-threatening practices to circumnavigate costs and discrimination, which raises the question, why does it feel like no one seems to care that people are being murdered and put in precarious situations? What I've sadly come to learn is that for oppressive and/or dominant groups to survive, there has to be an inverse of that, an oppressed or subordinate group. Until the dominant group recognizes their unjust power and follows up that realization with actions to rectify said imbalance of power, minority groups will continue to be denied their humanity. This denial is the destruction of the inalienable rights that every human possesses. We see this denial when trans people are denied their existence. And I just have to hop on a bunny trail real quick and say, it's incredibly inept and pathetic and insultingly unoriginal to say that trans women aren't women or that trans men aren't men. We don't tell parents of adoptive children that they aren't parents because their adopted children don't carry certain genetic material. We don't lambast them as glorified kidnappers or call them liars for claiming to be parents because these are not only rude things to say, your mama taught you better, they're inaccurate. Of course, there are certain settings where the qualifier adoptive before parents is necessary, typically within medical settings, but it doesn't change the fact that these people are still this child's parents. So I'll say it one more time. Trans women are women, trans men are men, get over it. Hopping off of that bunny trail and back to the main point. When trans people are denied their existence, we're denied the chance to be sondered. We're denied the benefit of the doubt. To sonder is to realize that each random passerby is living a life as vivid and complex as your own, populated with their own ambitions, friends, routines, worries, and inherited craziness. And before you ask, yes, sonder is a Tumblr word. But in the words of a brilliant 10-year-old philosopher who just also happens to be my goddaughter, all words were made up at some point by some smelly old man. And you're pretty, so you should be able to make up whatever words you want. So fight her if you feel a way about me using the word sonder. But I must warn you, she does come with hands, so be prepped. What is depressing to realize, though, is that it's not only the evil, big, bad, no-good cis-heteros who fail to sonder about our lives. It's y'all, the supposedly progressive, social justice warrior, trans ally, internet activists. Be real. How many of y'all could have named one of the persons on this depressingly long list before this event? And if you could, how many of y'all knew that Vicky Gutierrez was a 33-year-old Honduran immigrant who friends described as having a warm smile that could comfort anyone? Truly, how many of you knew that Kathleen Christina James was 24 when she was shot and killed? How many of y'all knew that according to her mother, she loved to dance and travel with her big, bold personality? How many of y'all knew any specifics about any of the people on these lists? How many of y'all in response to Memo 7, if you even know what that is, responded by solely posting about it on social media for likes and pats on the back, whilst neglecting to check in on your actual trans friends? See, whether we're seen as salacious or a statistic, we're still not being seen as human. No one deserves to be forgotten or to fade away. Even if we never do a remarkable thing, it doesn't mean that we're not worth remembering. I agree with Dear Evan Hansen that doing remarkable things shouldn't be what warrants respect of one's humanity, but don't get it twisted. Meeting a Black trans woman is meeting a remarkable person. To survive in a world that is the antithesis of everything we are, we've crossed the chessboard and we've won. When you deny basic humanity to a person, the vivid and complex becomes the plain and simple, and justice becomes solely a performance. It's time to stop performing and start doing. Check in on your trans friends. Donate your time, money, and resources directly to trans people. Do your research before you open your mouth. Don't be a dick, just girly things, you know? Do it because it's the right thing to do. And if that isn't enough reason for you, do it for Marsha, for Sylvia. Do it for Krista, for Vicky, for Celine, for Tanya, for Zachariah, for Felicia, for Amaya, for Sasha, for Carla, for Nino, for Gigi, for Anastasia, for Damien, for Kathlina, for Miss Keisha, for Sasha, for Fantasia, for Dejanay, for Shantae, for London, for Nikki, and Sierra. To our fallen, rest in peace, rest in power, and y'all better work. Thank you.